telling it's the Whirlpool, and I didn't have time to rewrite it. So, words. Whirlpool. They say that one moment of great impatience may ruin a life forever. Well, this is doubly true when you're on a water slide. We had seen dozens of hotel pools that season, but none of them had a water slide. Our usual routine was to dump our bags onto our beds, have a meeting in coach's room, then drop by the pool to see if the girls were swimming. We never swam. But the Comfort Inn and Suites in Plattsburgh, New York was different. Not only did they have an indoor pool and hot tub, they had a two-tiered water slide in November. It had been a long season. I'd gotten asthma the previous summer and hadn't gone a single race without resorting to my inhaler halfway through the warm-up. My lungs had tightened on the third lap of the starting field, and I'd have to leave my post as captain to run to my field bag for a gust of air. The cold weather had only made things worse, and now, in November, it was snowing. Water slide! Bellowed Andy as we dusted the snow from our fleece track jackets upon entering the hotel lobby. My friend Brad was already standing on the tiles alongside the deep end, dipping a frigid finger into its warm blue waters. The two Tims had unburdened themselves in their slush-soaked bags were watching as a group of teenage girls slid down the corkscrewing length of the slide. Our coach had already gone to bed with his pretty young wife, no doubt making use of the KY jelly which his ex had spilled from his bag in the back of the van. True. Guys, we have to get up at 7, I cautioned, but they're already shuffling through the gear for the swimsuits they'd already packed. Oh, we'll just swim for a couple minutes, said Andy, the eldest runner on the team. But the national meet, I stammered, the team's captain in name only. Just put your trunks on, Nancy, he smirked. Well, an hour later, I was standing at the top of the water slide, watching as my teammates splashed into each other over the broad expanse of the shallow end. Move, bitches! I shouted as I threw myself into the chute head first, splashing down a moment later in a tangle of overtrained limbs. It was then that Andy got the idea for the Whirlpool. Now, running a cross-country race at the college level is not for sissies. The races are 5 miles, and we practiced every day, sometimes twice, getting up at odd hours to run odd distances through odd forts where the residents of our college town thought we were nuts. Every single mile we had run that year would now be compressed into the tense 26 minutes of the next day's race. How we stretched, slept, thought, and ate would all affect how the fine-tuned ecosystems of our bodies ran that day. And now we were fucking it up. Keep moving, Paul, urged Andy as I pulled my torso through the thick, chlorinated water. The entire team was dispersed around the perimeter of the emerging whirlpool. It would take another 10 minutes of quadricep tearing strides to whip the current into something that would carry us along without swimming. Whee! Yelled Andy for idiot. Excuse me. Whee! Yelled Andy for added idiotic effect. I thought dimly of the chest pain I'd be having at the end of mile 3 the next day, but I let the warm water move me. Well, it would take a lot more effort to move myself out of bed the next morning. Another foot of snow had fallen that night, yet the meet was too important to cancel. How do you feel? Asked my coach. Great, I lied. My quads were already tight, the rest of my muscles drained. Our van crawled through the parking lot to see row upon row of state-ranked teams huddled around their heat vents. A small, half-hearted effort had been made to clear the course of the race, which was starting in an hour. A few of the trails had been diverted to the surface of the service road. Other sections had been forced flat by repeated swipes of a golf cart. There, on the field, the athletic director had dug a small trench in the snow with his heel to mark the starting line. I felt my balls creep up into my body for warmth as our coach opened the passenger door and invited us all to enjoy the winter's first snowfall. Well, as soon as the starting pistol went off an hour later, things went sour and then got worse. I pushed off a bad patch of snow-covered grass, which separated from the frozen earth beneath it, sending me backwards. I then had to fight my way through the race from the back of the pack, pushing aside men twice my size who were only running to keep in shape on the shot put in the spring. As I found my team through the thick of the starting mass, we were already in trouble. All of the teams we needed to beat were already going a half mile through the woods ahead of us, and most of us were covered in mud and frozen drool. Let's go, commanded Andy as I tailed him around the corner and through a puddle. But the water ejected a shard of ice which lacerated my hamstring, and I hobbled as Andy pulled ahead and out of sight. Now, as we came upon the 4th mile, the pace of the race picked up to a furious boil. I thought back to the Whirlpool and the leisurely pace at which we sailed around the water that night before. The strain to get started had been worth every effort, and the warm water rippled in mystic conversation with itself as I relaxed inside the room at the hotel. Paul, Harlan's 34th man, 50 meters ahead, deep, deep. It was my coach, enjoying a rare moment of leadership as he pointed at a pair of red tights climbing up an uneven hill of white mud en route to the finish line. Andy was nipping at their heels, trying to bring a skinny foot down upon their calves so as to shred their leg muscles with the stainless steel of his track spikes.